Hey, what's going on everyone? MONADO Max here, and today we are back with a video series that I really love doing. To me, it's really special to me because I feel like I kind of helped start this whole conversation of what is a good third-party Switch game. And today we're doing part 7 of the top 10 best third-party games out there for this bad boy, the Nintendo Switch. And as you can see, I have a lot of Switch games. So we have plenty to discuss, and this has been an interesting year for the Nintendo Switch since the last time we did one of this, because we've had a lot of third-party games come out for the Switch. A lot of bad and a lot of good. And I've come up with another top 10 list, and I have actually another top 10 list that we could do down the road. But right now, I feel like I got a pretty good list, and I feel like it's strongly a definitive list out there, because some of the games in here, I think I would rate up there as truly some of the best Switch ports out there. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this awesome top 10 video. Coming in number 10, I just want to say, don't call me out on this, hear me out before you guys call me a hypocrite, because there's something, just listen to the whole thing that I'm about to say, please. Because I still stand true to my opinion on this game. Coming in number 10 is the Batman Arkham Trilogy. This game is absolutely garbage if you're buying it for Batman Arkham Knight. In fact, if you're gonna buy this at all, do not buy this for $60. This is not a $60 game at all. This is at most a $20 game. And the only reason why it's on this list is I saw that it's been continuously getting on sale for $30. In my review video, I said it was absolutely horrible because of Batman Arkham Knight, and Batman Arkham Knight was probably the main reason why this game was so high. However, Batman Arkham City and Batman Arkham Asylum are great, especially Arkham City. That game runs perfect on the Switch. For some reason, Arkham Asylum has some hiccups, and from my understanding, the developers over at Warner Brothers have said that they are going to fix Arkham Knight. They have not fixed Arkham Knight yet, but there is an update coming, and it's taken a long time, so maybe there's going to be an actual good fix to Batman Arkham Knight. It's just very disappointing to see that Batman Arkham Knight runs absolutely horrible on Switch, all things considering that these are supposed to be native Switch versions of the game built from the ground up for Nintendo Switch. Really, only buy this if you can get it for $20 to $30, because playing in Batman Arkham City is well worth it for $20, $30. That is such a good game. And for whatever reason, that is considered one of the best video games of all time. I don't rate Arkham City as one of the best video games of all time, but it is one of the highest rating games out there and considered one of the best video games of all time. So Arkham City is really good, and I think you should play it, especially if you are a fan of what type of gameplay Batman is, or a storyline, or if you're a superhero fan. This is well worth it. Just prepare for disappointment when it comes to Batman Arkham Knight. The two other games in here, the first two games, amazing for Switch. Coming in number 9 is Dragon Quest: The Monsters Dark Prince. Now, this is a Dragon Quest spin-off game. I haven't played the mainline Dragon Quest games. In fact, I've actually only played the spin-off of Dragon Quest games. I played Dragon Quest Builders, and now I'm playing Dragon Quest Monsters. I actually believe this is a Switch exclusive from my understanding. Don't quote me on that. But this just came out, I think, literally 2 months ago. And I was surprised from what I was playing because there's a lot you can do within this game. And I guess with it being a Switch exclusive, it would make sense with how great it runs. Because the game runs really good. The game is really fun. I mean, I hate to make this comparison, but I'm pretty sure this is what they're trying to be with when it comes to Dragon Quest Monsters. But it felt like Dragon Quest met Pokemon literally, and did a crossover game with its gameplay elements of Dragon Quest and Pokemon come together with this type of game. You get an interesting story with this character that I don't know if it's in other Dragon Quest games. I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be a standalone spin-off series to get interested in this character rather than the mainline games. And as someone that's not played the mainline games, I was having a lot of fun with it because I didn't feel like I had to play the other stuff and understand this and that to understand these Easter eggs. I felt like this was truly made for people like me who haven't played the series. Now, I'm sure there's still Easter eggs out there that you'll be like, I understood that reference when you play this game if you've played other Dragon Quest games. But I had a blast with this game, and I'm looking forward to continue playing this game. I highly recommend you look to get this for the Nintendo Switch. However, one thing I will say, because this is something that we point out a lot on the channel, is we try to save you money. This game is a $60 game. This is probably not going to go on sale for a long time because it's selling well, and apparently this is hard to find, the physical copy. I don't know. That's what Square Enix said, to buy it digitally if you could. Fun game. Definitely recommend. If you're waiting for a price drop, it's not going to happen for a bit. Coming in number 8 is Super Bomberman R2. Now, if you guys know me, I highly recommend Super Bomberman R. That has been a game that I picked up in the early days of the Nintendo Switch. It is something that I have recommended to so many people because it is such a great game. What the game that I felt lacked when it came to the first Bomberman game was single player stuff. The story mode was not very interesting. And with Bomberman R2, they have tried their absolute best to upgrade the story, make the levels more interesting, give like kind of like an open world type to the game when it comes to the exploring the levels of Bomberman. I don't know how to explain, because it's not open world, but it kind of is. It's like multiple levels into one and you're exploring the area. It was a really cool concept for this, and you could see that they were really trying to add more single player stuff. And there's a lot of new game modes within Bomberman R2 that I think is really interesting, and I hoped would have been successful for them, but unfortunately this has probably not been a success for Konami because this game has dropped in price very fast. I picked this up for 20 bucks. This game came out in like September as a $60 game, and now it's nothing. Now, if you're looking for it as like an online game, they do online updates, they do like seasons, it's casual updates that they do, but I don't really think there's a community out there for this. So this is really probably a game you should only buy if you're gonna have friends over, because this is the ultimate game to have friends over. The single player stuff is well worth it. I just don't think many people would like this type of style all the time. This is one of those games that aren't for everybody as a single player experience, but I definitely think as a multiplayer experience, you're gonna have an absolute blast. Coming in number 7 is Nickelodeon AllStar Brawl 2. Now, again, this is a sequel of a game that I have highly praised on this channel, which was the first Nickelodeon AllStar Brawl. That game had a rough start, but they fixed a lot of the problems that people had with the game. No voice acting, fine. 1 year later, they added as a free update. Items, added as a free update. DLC characters, added as a free update. They did have some paid DLC characters. However, they continued to add content into that game that made it a really good game. And with the sequel to Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2, they just continue to add on to what people requested. A single-player campaign mode, got it in here, with voice acting, an actual story, which, by the way, the campaign to this is really fun because it's a roguelike game. I don't think I have seen a roguelike fighting game like that before with its story mode. And it's very fun and can get extremely difficult. I am having a lot of fun with Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 on the Nintendo Switch. However, the big problem with the Switch version that I've had is this game has a lot of loading screens. And I expect it probably has to do with what the type of the game it is and how much content it has, how you're going through so many levels at once. There's a lot of loading screens and they take a long time at times. I have sat through a few loading screens that took over a minute, and they happen all the time because you can get through these levels pretty fast. There's a lot of stuff that you're going through that causes loading screens, and that's really my only major complaint with the Switch version. But it runs really good. It has a little bit of a graphics hit, but it still, in my opinion, looks really good. The only time that I saw frame rate drops with this game is if you had those levels that had multiple enemies at once, like I think it would have been like 4 or 5 enemies at once on the screen when you were up close. The game was dropping frames like crazy. But regular one-on-ones, all that type of stuff, runs perfect. I think this is a very good game. It's just the loading screens. If you have a next-gen console, this might be one of those that if you have a problem with loading screens, you might want to play it on there. But if you have no problem with loading screens, buy this. Coming in number 6 is Neon White. Now, I have to say, the story of Neon White is extremely weird and definitely not for me. I think a lot of people would be interested in the type of story that Neon White is. It's more tailored towards the anime fans out there, so if you're a big anime person, you'll probably love the story of Neon White. But the actual game was super fun to me. I love this type of game style that Neon White is. It reminds me a lot of Ghost Runner. Now, I know Ghost Runner did not invent whatever you call this type of style of gameplay, but I love these speed running type levels, go through the level, get points for getting to it faster to progress to the next set of missions. This was fun, and it opened the door to a lot of creative levels that I played within Neon White. I enjoyed Neon White just based off gameplay alone, and the best part about this is a relatively cheap game. If you don't buy it physically, you could probably get it on the eShop for like less than 10 bucks because it goes on sale a lot. But if you're a physical guy, the physical copy I think is only $30. So for how fun this game was, for how low you have to pay for it, I think it's well worth it. And I think most people would enjoy the story. It's just a little out there for me, but Neon White is great. And it has Steve Blum in it. If you guys don't know who Steve Blum is, you probably will find out once you look at his IMDb page. You'll be like, oh my gosh, I do know who Steve Blum is. Coming in number 5 is Persona 5 Tactica. Now, this is a game that I know a lot of people, when it got announced, they were like, another Persona 5 game. I would like them to continue the Persona 5 stuff that they got going on. I would like to see a fighting game too. That seems to be probably happening next. But Persona 5 Tactica came out. This was a new type of thing that Atlus did with the Persona series. And I actually don't know if Atlus themselves developed. I think Atlus actually developed this. This isn't something that they hired a different company to do with, like Persona 5 Strikers, which was Koei Tecmo. And this is a part of the mainline universe of Persona 5. The story is canon to the universe, and I enjoyed this a lot. It was different. The best way to describe it is XCOM meets Persona. I guess in other words, you could use Mario Rabbids meets Persona if you guys played Mario Rabbids, because there's probably a higher chance you played Mario Rabbids than you did XCOM. Very interesting art style. That might be something that might not have you be interested in the game as much, because I know a lot of people that I hang out with that are Persona fans, they were excited to play this, or the rumors of this game, and then it being this type of art style, they were like, ugh. Persona 5 Tactica, though, I've had a lot of fun with, and particularly what surprised me the most was how great the Switch version was. I had no frame rate drops. The game looked really good. I was at a locked frame rate every time I was playing the game, which really surprised me. And the best part about this game that I love when I'm able to show this off on the channel is you can get this game for cheap also. This just came out and it didn't sell well, unfortunately, and you can buy it at places like Best Buy. It goes on sale for 20 bucks. So to have that in your collection, a Persona 5 game, which this is a way shorter Persona game out there. It's a spin-off, so I mean, even for a spin-off, this is really short. So if you're not a fan of shorter games, this is like a 20 to 25 hour game, so keep that in mind. Fun game, and it's great that they actually got the whole voice cast back for this too. I was surprised by that they even did the voice acting into this game. Coming in number 4 is No More Heroes 3. Now, No More Heroes 3 has such a crazy opening to a game. I was instantly hooked. I have never been on the controller being like, oh my gosh, this is awesome when it came to the No More Heroes games. I always thought these games were great, but the opening of No More Heroes 3, oh my gosh, that tops anything out of the openings of No More Heroes, out of the games that we've had. No More Heroes 3 has been an amazing game so far of what I've played. Now, the obvious thing that the game struggles with is when you get to, I guess, what you would call as the open world side of things. It looks really bad with the open world. And I think what came down to it being so bad is I don't really think Suda51 actually wanted those elements into the game, but everyone was begging for it since the first No More Heroes had it. So he was like, alright, here you go, we're gonna force it in because you guys won't stop. It looks horrible when you get to the open world side. It runs not great either, and compared to the first game, it feels incredibly forced. However, when you get to the actual levels of No More Heroes 3, they're great. Those aren't forced. Those are polished. I'm a fan of the graphics too when you're playing those normal levels. I think this game looks really good. It's just The game fails when you get to the open world side, doing the side stuff that's required to get through the main stuff. Wish they kind of would have got rid of that, kind of like how No More Heroes 2 did it. Other than that though, this is a great game to have. I could only recommend this though if you played the other No More Heroes games. If you haven't played No More Heroes yet, you should. My best description I could give of that, which might be a very controversial thing to say, I feel like No More Heroes is, if you've played the old Nickelodeon games back as a kid, it to me reminds me if the team that made those games made this with like a mature version of those games, if that makes sense. That might be an out there comparison, but that's what it reminds me of. And that's why I've loved the series so much, and I'm glad that my editor pushed me to play the games. Coming in number 3 is SpongeBob SquarePants The Cosmic Shake. You're probably gonna be like, why is that so highly on your list? Now listen, when this got announced, I was worried. Now, SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom is great. Rehydrated was amazing. When they announced that they were going to continue the series, I was like, this isn't going to work out. They've made SpongeBob games since the old days and they went downhill. This is going to be like that because there was SpongeBob games that attempted to do this and it just was so bad. There was no way that this team was going to be able to make a good SpongeBob game. They just should have stuck with remasters is what I was hoping. But they did this really amazingly. The Switch version is even better than what it was on the Battle for Bikini Bottom Switch version out there. They took everything that people got mad about when it came to the Switch version of those games and fixed all the problems and made it look really good with like no frame rate drops ever. And best of all, this game is really fun. The levels throughout the whole SpongeBob Cosmic Shake is so cool. It is like a SpongeBob multiverse game. In concept, sounds like it was not going to work out, but they made this work out and it works amazing. I also love that they were able to get all of the voice cast back with new lines. I wasn't sure how they were going to do that since this was like a whole new game. All the actors in this have become way more popular since Battle for Bikini Bottom when they did those lines like 20 years ago. They got everyone back here and this was truly a special game. I think if you loved Battle for Bikini Bottom, you're really gonna love this game. And I was so surprised to see how well the Switch version held up to the other versions out there, considering some of the elements that this game had and how Battle for Bikini Bottom ran for the Switch. I mean, in terms of graphically, because it ran amazing on Switch. Graphically, it kind of took a hit because it focused on running so well. But this looked really good and I'm so surprised. This doesn't go on sale very often, but it's like a $30 game. You should buy this if you liked Battle for Bikini Bottom. I know that's not going to be for everyone. It's probably going to be really weird to y'all that I have this as number 3, but I thought this was a really good Switch game out there. Coming in number 2 is probably the best Switch port of all time. There's so many times that I've said that with some games. It's hard to say, but this was truly a game that surprised me, that I did a whole video review on it. Hogwarts Legacy for the Nintendo Switch. When this got announced, everybody laughed. I laughed. When the game kept getting delayed, we were all like, yep, it's getting canceled. The developers kept hyping up Hogwarts Legacy for the Switch, saying it's gonna surprise people, and no one believed it. When Mortal Kombat 1 came out for the Nintendo Switch, everyone lost hope so fast when it came to Hogwarts Legacy because that was coming out 2 months after Mortal Kombat 1. So everyone thought Hogwarts Legacy was just not going to work, and they made this work, and it graphically looks good most of the time and runs at a locked frame rate. I couldn't believe what I was witnessing when it came to this game. I couldn't believe how good the opening of Hogwarts Legacy was on Switch. I was just blown away and continue to get blown away as I played this game. This is a really good Switch game, and I'm not going to talk too much more about it because I have done a full dedicated review talking about in depth of how good this game is. So I highly recommend you check that video. This is also a new Switch release. It's $60 right now. I've seen it sometimes go on sale for $40 to $60. This is worth it. I am so impressed about this. You can properly play Hogwarts Legacy on a Nintendo Switch, which is crazy. crazy. Coming in #1 is one that's going to surprise a lot of people, including me, but when I played this, I was surprised how much I was enjoying it. Coming in #1 is Sonic Superstars. Sonic Superstars is a game, when it was announced, a lot of people was excited for it, and then the announcements after the game kind of disappointed people because they all thought it was like, oh, we could do online multiplayer. And then Sega was like, no, no, no. There was just more stuff that kept coming out about the game that had people concerned about the game. And for whatever reason, Sega was like, we're gonna go up against Mario Wonder and Spider-Man 2. They released this game 3 days before that game. They got outsold by Mario. Interesting week that all 3 of those games came out in the same week. But Sonic Superstars sold absolutely poorly. In fact, it is a $20 game right now. And they launched at $60, which a lot of people was not happy about this being $60 because a lot of the Sonic releases have been $30 to $40 at launch, with the exception being Sonic Frontiers that launched at $60. But Sonic Superstars, when I popped this game in, I didn't think I was going to have that much fun with it because I was like, Sonic. The reviews of this have been kind of mixed, but I'm having a blast with Sonic Superstars. I've been playing this on my Switch OLED, and the game looks absolutely beautiful with that OLED screen and how colorful Sonic Superstars is. Running at the frame rate that it's at, it runs amazing, no frame rate drops, looks amazing, and the game is just fun. I think if you're a Sonic fan, you'll enjoy this, and especially for $20, can't go wrong with it. There's a lot of content within Sonic Superstars, and I think this was a really, really fun game that unfortunately a lot of people aren't going to be able to play because of the fact that it released the time that it did. One thing I really want to try is the multiplayer. It's just unfortunate that there's no online multiplayer. That would be my one major complaint with this game, since the multiplayer is something that they heavily promoted within this game. I feel like online should have been done there, which is like a Nintendo thing. Nintendo will highlight multiplayer and be like, no, 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 no online play. It reminds me of like the WarioWare series, really. I highly recommend this game for $20. Guys, that is part 7 in the Nintendo Switch third-party game series. I hope you guys enjoy this. This is a series I started a long time ago. The series hasn't been as popular as it used to be, but I enjoy doing this so much because I love talking third-party games for the Switch. I like telling you if it's a good game or if it's a bad game. And I hope to do a few more before we end the Switch console. It's crazy to think that we've done 70 Switch game reviews just off this series. Very crazy to think. I hope we could do 100 before, so we maybe could get 3 more videos out this year on it. That would be fun, but you guys have to show the interest. Normally I do 2 to 3, and the next Nintendo console is probably coming out this year, so there's probably only going to be 1 more. But if you guys love these videos, we'll try to get to part 10 at least before we end off the series to jump into the next Nintendo console. I want to know what you guys are thinking. What are some of your favorite third-party Switch games out there? Now, before you're like, Max, why didn't you put so-and-so? I more than likely have already put it into the series because, remember, we have 6 other parts out there, and we've been doing this for a long time. So let me know some of your favorite Switch games when it comes to third parties, and let me know what I should have included in this list. Make sure to backslash that subscribe button, like the video, check out my Twitch, check out my Discord server, check out the Instagram, the Twitter, and become a MONADO Marine member for $5 a month. That helps out the channel a lot, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace. Why did I shout out the Twitch? I probably should get rid of the description of Twitch on the description. Why did I say description twice? It's almost midnight. I need to shut up and record other. I don't need to record. I need to go to bed. Why am I... Bro, I don't know what's happening here.